rumors that LA is probably one of the most dangerous places for rappers. Do you believe that's true?
Yeah. Because, I mean, everybody be checking in. That's y'all favorite thing to do. Check in with somebody that's gonna rob your stupid ass.
Right.
Well, they're cool. Hey, well, they're cool. They ain't gotta with me, but I ain't signing no permission slip nowhere. That ain't what I do. Hey, look. If you want to come, if you wanted to come politic, you could have came in politics. Hey, that's all good, big homie. They said he could have just came in politics. You know, that what real niggas do. I ain't no peewee. But check out what I'm saying. I ain't no peewee though, so it don't go like that. It gotta be respect.
Like you try to glorify that ain't that. It's flawed. We know when flow when we deal with them in the streets. We know when flow. Like we understand that they flow. We don't capitalize off their flawness though, because we'll capitalize off real.
The whole checking in drama where rappers are expected to pay their dues when they roll into certain cities is making waves, especially with some spicy rumors involving Drake and his so-called protector in Houston, J. Prince. You might have heard that Drake, thinking he had J. Prince's loyalty, Unlocked tried to shut down any rapper linked to Kendrick Lamar from performing in Houston. But guess what? J. Prince, who's got this rep as the big boss of Houston, didn't exactly back him up. Instead, it was Schoolboy Q who stepped in, showing no fear and basically calling out Drake's mob ties as a joke. At the same time, he exposed J. Prince for being behind the deaths of some of the most famous rappers, including Takeoff. Schoolboy Q hitting the stage in Houston this month. That was more than just a performance, it was a power move. He didn't just rap, he made a bold statement by roasting the whole checking in ritual, calling it out for the outdated joke it is. And honestly, he's got a point. J. Prince, still stuck in these street games, is out here trying to squeeze money from his own people. But here's where it gets dark. Rumors are swirling that this little extortion game might have even claimed some lives. So, who's J. Prince been leaning on? And what's really going on with this extortion drama? Let's take it back for a sec. The roots of this extortion business, you've got to go all the way back to 18th century Italy, where the mafia was the original pay up or else crew. When they crossed over to the US, cities like Chicago, New York, and Philly were under their thumb, living in fear of these shakedowns. Naturally, American street gangs and organized crime groups took notes, and soon enough, extortion became a dark undercurrent in hip-hop culture, with R raking in serious cash. These groups wanted their cut. Today, extortion is practically woven into hip-hop's DNA. Even the biggest names couldn't escape it. Take Tupac, for instance. In 2011, some jaw-dropping FBI files revealed that the Jewish Defense League was extorting Tupac and other rap legends. According to the feds, the JDL was threatening these artists' lives, then swooping in with an offer of protection for a price. It was like a messed up insurance scam. But with death threats and easy, he was a target too right before he tragically passed from AIDS. The FBI even suggested that these threats might have been aimed at Tupac before his in Vegas. Street gangs are still playing the same old game, demanding that rappers check in when they roll into a new city. It's all about making sure these artists can move around safely without getting jacked or worsen. Turn the rappers either cough up some cash for security or let local talent open for them at shows. It's like buying a hood pass. But sometimes the price isn't just money, it could be your life. Now let's dive into some of the big names who've gotten caught in this web. Remember when Kanye West had that sketchy moment in Philly? He was just grabbing a bite with some friends at a diner when a group of shady dudes showed up. They didn't even order food. They just sat there watching him. Kanye had to tuck away his jewelry and lay low, but things were getting tense. That's when Beanie Siegel, also known as the Broad Street Bully, stepped in and turned the tables. Beanie didn't just show up. He made it crystal clear that no one was going to mess with Kanye on his watch.
Yeah, he started to get kind of nervous, and he called you up.
No, he didn't call me up personally.
Well, somehow it got you.
You know, two ways you could put out the blast. It could go to everybody who was, he put the blast out that he felt threatened.
Right.
Yeah.
You showed up.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, you let them know that nothing was going to happen to Kanye.
Nah.
That's not how it went down.
Yeah,
well, no,
I'm saying, okay, nothing was going to happen to him. Not while I was there.
But if you think Philly is tough, wait until you hear about Detroit. The Motor City operates on a whole different level, and it's all thanks to a guy named Trick. Rappers rolling into Detroit better be familiar with the no-fly zone. Trick set the rules show. Respect and pay your dues, or you're not hitting the stage in his city. On the Drink Champs podcast, he spilled the tea. Back in the day, record labels would come to Detroit, squeezing money out of local artists while profiting off the city's talent. Trick wasn't having any of it. He shut that down, making sure the only ones cashing in on Detroit scene were the locals. And for anyone bold enough to test the no-fly zone, they quickly found out that Trick wasn't messing around.
Ask you, Trick, because I don't understand what is the no-fly zone. What does that mean? Because I mean, I've come to Detroit and had marvelous times.
We shot movies together in Detroit.
So, but what is this no-fly zone mean?
It was for record labels.
Okay.
When record labels used to have like street teams, and that was back in the A&R days. You know, they would have a promo team, take the artists. You know, A&R take the artists to different locations, and it was like they were just coming to Detroit and wasn't picking up nothing. It was like they would charge the local artists to perform. They would charge the local artists to perform, and the local artists would bring 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 people sometimes to this event that will pay to get in. It's like, how is you charging them and they bringing you revenue?
Wow.
You know, and then, you know, when it kept happening with the little homies and they was just doing it because they got money, like, you know, that, man.
Meaning paying to get on
it was just so much.
Their own stage, technically.
Exactly. And it was radio as well. Like, you know, the Summer Jams events didn't consist of mostly Detroit artists. They consist of everybody from everywhere else, and the Detroit artists would get charged.
Wow.
And I was like, that. Stop everything. Now the only entertainment around this gonna be what's here.
Right.
So we're gonna get acquainted with what we got around these corners, and then we'll start letting a few trinklets in one at a time. And if anybody violated, we'll deal with that accordingly. You know.
Just ask Rick Ross. He got a first-hand lesson in how serious the no-fly zone really is when Ross tried to perform in Detroit without paying his respects. He learned the hard way that Trick wasn't bluffing. Ross's concert was acted, and he couldn't even get inside the venue. It was a power move, a reminder that in certain cities, you either play by the rules or you don't play at all. When pressed about the incident, Ross downplayed it, calling it just another day. His team got to the venue first, only to find it padlocked. Like a showdown was brewing.
Yo, we went out to Detroit. You know, we had a gig to go to, you know, so the team head over, you know, to the gig. And, you know, I got my team, so my team is always in front of me, you know, just to make it clear. I never even made it to the venue.
Okay.
I never made it to the venue. Me and whoever this gentleman is, we never crossed paths. He never spoke with Rose. And I expect him to clarify that. I expect him, you know, to tell y'all, we never talked to Rose. We never spoke to MMG. But anyway, you know, the caravan on the way to the venue, and, you know, they get there and someone has locked the gates to the venue. Padlocked or however they did it, the gate was locked. It was gentlemen supposed to be here. This I didn't see myself.
Okay.
It was supposed to be gentlemen here who were talking with the police, and it was very peaceful. Okay. You know, for my team that made it, you know,
there before you.
Right. You know, they didn't even know it was a problem, you know. And you know, that's the promoter's job, you know what I mean? So
Ross never faced the so-called enforcers, expecting them to eventually admit they didn't have the guts to confront him. Meanwhile, Ross chilled at Greektown Casino, waiting for the promoter to sort things out. But instead of clarity, Ross heard rumors about a gang flexing their muscle. He let the talk go on, expecting someone to clear the air. But when that didn't happen, Ross stepped up and addressed it himself. Here's where it gets wild. Ross got his bag, probably a fat one, but couldn't shake the disappointment for his fans left hanging at a locked gate for Ross. It wasn't personal. It was just business. Still, something didn't add up for him. If you're trying to prove your toughness, why lock out the lions? Ross summed it up perfectly.